Now, from Southwest Florida's news leader, this is Wink News at 11.
Tonight on the Nightbeat, people are pushing for cleaner water around Southwest Florida. How they say the lake overleases are hurting their way of life. And the trial of several accused gang members starts in just hours. The Nightbeat explains what you can expect as they face a jury of their peers. And the city erupts into protest over a deadly police shooting. A body cam footage that police just released so you can see what they saw. Those stories and more coming up on the Nightbeat.
Happy Sunday night, everybody. We are watching a dry sky really everywhere, but except in DeSoto County. One lone storm, and it's a big one right now that's affecting Arcadia, US 17, as well as State Road 70, State Road 31. And look at all those white dots on your screen. That's lightning and a good amount of it. And that storm is actually moving off towards the north-northwest, away from Arcadia and away from Southwest Florida. But nonetheless, we actually start with a few showers along the coast tomorrow morning. Temperatures back in the mid-70s as well. What's in store tomorrow afternoon, and what are your main weather headlines for this upcoming week? Details in that full forecast all coming up.
And breaking right now, a man is in jail tonight accused of hitting 8 people, including a child. This happened last night in Naples. FHP says Antonio Rosas rammed his car in a group of people at Mi Mercado Foods, a grocery store. Troopers say Rosa put his car in reverse and crashed through several picnic benches where people were eating. One of the victims is a 9-year-old boy. They do believe he was drunk. One victim, a teenage girl, is the only person with serious injuries. A new development in the algae emergency plaguing Southwest Florida. A group of homeowners living in Pine Island held a small protest today on the Matlacha Bridge. They say discharges from Lake Okeechobee are crippling their way of life and hurting their community. The demonstrators say it's important to voice their concerns now so changes can start soon.
We see the impacts on a daily basis from the releases. We're starting to see blue-green algae down on Tropical Point of our island, and we see the brown water, which was clear about 3 weeks ago.
Neighbors say they want the Army Corps of Engineers to push water from Lake Okeechobee further south. And tomorrow we could learn more about how the nasty blue-green algae is affecting the traffic on our boat ramps. FWC is expected to release new information that could help you find the best place to launch. Boaters we spoke to say the effects of the algae have been mostly cosmetic, but the cleanup costs are piling up. The green slime has kept boat washers busy because the algae can stain, but is this enough to drive boaters away?
No one wants to drive through green slime.
It's kind of a pick and choose the days that you're going to go.
We checked all the boat ramps in Lee and Collier County are still open. And we continue to keep an eye on the red tide conditions. This map shows the forecast through the end of today. If you're going out on the water anytime soon, you might want to start avoiding some of the parts in the coast of southern Charlotte County and northern Lee County. You can see low and high concentrations of red tide in those areas. And remember, red tide can kill fish and cause you to cough. And tomorrow, the Clinic for Rehabilitation of Wildlife, or CROW, will start to release 2 sea turtles that were sick from red tide poisoning on Captiva. And this is video CROW workers releasing another turtle that suffered red tide poisoning earlier this summer. Tomorrow, releases are expected to start at 9 to 10 a.m. And Wink News is monitoring the water quality in Southwest Florida to keep you and your family safe. For the latest information on the algae and red tide, check out the Wink News app. It is free to download and has all the details you need on the water. And tomorrow, jury selection begins for the trial of multiple accused gang members. A massive operation landed them in jail in 2017. Authorities arrested nearly 24 people as part of a racketeering case. Now 4 of them will have to go and sit in front of a jury of their peers. The Nightbeat's Morgan Reiner explains what to expect from the Lee County Courthouse.
Inside this courthouse, the trial of 4 accused Lake Boys gang members will begin tomorrow morning. These men were arrested with nearly 24 other men in connection to an operation targeting them back in January of 2017. Jury selection for James Brown, Kwame Brown, Deontay Davis, and Eric Fletcher begins Monday morning. The group is accused of a wave of violence where 7 people were shot in Fort Myers in 2015. One of the victims, a child who was shot in the face. Police say the gang operates out of the Harlem Lakes neighborhood here. Judge Kyle separated the trials of the Lake Boys gang members in March because trying 24 men at once would be too confusing, and there were safety concerns. One of the men, James Brown, is being held in the building right behind me. The trial could last up to a few weeks. Trust Wink News to keep you informed as we follow the trial. On the Nightbeat, Morgan Reiner, Wink News Now.
And new right now, a boat propeller hits a woman in the leg and sends her to the hospital. It happened here along the west side of Cayo Costa. The Coast Guard and Captiva Fire responded to this. First responders took her into the Pineland Marina. We do not know yet what hospital she went to or her condition. A new body camera footage shows the moment police confronted a suspect and shot him dead. Chicago PD released this body cam video just hours ago. Police say the shooting happened last night after officers believe Harith Augustus reached for a weapon. He ran away from officers who were trying to question him. Angry crowds have protested since it happened. Last night, the city streets descended into chaos. Some people even threw bottles and rocks at police. Several officers got hurt and 4 demonstrators ended up in handcuffs.
He's not a drug dealer. He's not a gang member. He's not a documented gang member. He's not that. He worked to provide for his 5-year-old daughter, and his life was taken from him by Chicago Police Department last night.
Police recovered a handgun and 2 magazines at the scene. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 weeks that a Chicago police officer has shot someone. In just hours, the president will sit down with the leader of Russia. President Donald Trump is in Helsinki, Finland right now. This is the first time the president and Vladimir Putin will have a face-to-face meeting. The Nightbeat's Nora O'Donnell explains what to expect from the anticipated summit.
President Trump touched down in Finland Sunday, just hours ahead of a high-stakes sit-down with Russian President Vladimir Putin. A top advisor tells CBS News the 2 leaders are expected to spend about 30 minutes alone with just translators before an expanded meeting with staff. Mr. Trump will be joined by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, National Security Advisor John Bolton, and Chief of Staff John Kelly.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Before heading to Helsinki, President Trump told CBS Evening News anchor Jeff Glor when it comes to talks with Mr. Putin, he has low expectations.
I go into a meeting like that, never with high expectations, but maybe some really good stuff can happen.
Not high expectations, it's a one-on-one conversation.
Whatever it is, I'm representing our country. I want to do great for our country, and I'm sure he wants to do well for his. But that doesn't make it mutually exclusive. I mean, I think we can do something that's good for everybody.
Last Friday, Special Counsel Robert Mueller indicted 12 Russian military intelligence officers for their efforts to undermine the 2016 presidential election. Putin has denied ordering the interference, but National Security Advisor John Bolton today called foul.
I find it hard to believe, but that's what one of the purposes of this meeting is, so the president can see eye to eye with President Putin and ask him about it.
The president said in his interview with CBS News' Jeff Glor that he will definitely talk to Putin about the Russian agents who were recently indicted. Senate Republicans are urging the president to tread carefully. And meanwhile, in Helsinki, people are demonstrating in both support of President Trump and against him. Large crowds rallied against tomorrow's meeting with Putin. Others want to greet the president and welcome him to Finland. Some people in the crowd say President Trump's slogan, "Make America Great Again," resonates with them. They want their country to take the very same approach.
And that is a fantastic thing. Let's make America great. As a father, let's keep your home safe. Do for your children, for your family, and I hope we keep Finland great also.
The president is scheduled to return back to the U.S. tomorrow evening. And the push to keep you protected at the pump isn't just coming from law enforcement anymore. Credit card companies like Visa and MasterCard are pressuring gas stations to up security. In 2 years, pumps must upgrade their security or pay a credit card processing fee. Here in Southwest Florida, Cape Coral passed an ordinance requiring gas stations to install extra security to keep out gas skimmers or face a fine. And ringing in a major birthday, one Southwest Florida veteran turned 100 today. Ruth Field of Punta Gorda has lived an amazing life, and her family joined in that celebration today. Her love for her country goes back decades. Just to give you an idea of how long she's lived, she remembers seeing President FDR. She entered the Army when she was in her 20s and Field traveled the world from Australia to the Philippines. Meanwhile, the United States grew around her.
We were about the first woman to go in the service. When they said they were going to have women in their service, I went and signed up because my brothers were all going in. There were 4 of them going in. So I couldn't let them go in without me.
Ruth says the secret to living a good life is to stay active and make sure you have a whiskey shot every now and then. And still ahead on the Wink News Nightbeat, crews battle massive wildfires after one firefighter's death. The work happening now to make sure he didn't die in vain. Plus, neighbors say someone is messing with burrowing owl nests in Cape Coral. They believe contractors are to blame for disturbing the protected animals.
And I hope you enjoyed today because our typical summertime afternoon storm pattern returns tomorrow. My forecast is next.
People in Cape Coral say city-hired lawn workers are disturbing the protected neighbors. They said the workers are mowing over burrowing owl homes. The owls are a state-threatened animal, and as the Nightbeat's Morgan Reiner explains, these allegations could lead to big fines.
Cape Coral neighbors say someone is mistreating burrowing owls in their community.
They claim they, saw them poking sticks to get the owls out.
The owl burrows are very shallow, so the weight of the lawnmower, especially with the rain and the soft sand, can definitely crush the burrows in.
And now they want action.
If they're doing wrong to the burrows or the owls, then they need to be reported. And whatever comes of that, then that's what they deserve.
Burrowing owls are state protected. If you do not follow protocol, you can get fined, face jail time, and even face a 3rd-degree felony. Pasha Donaldson reports at least 3 to 5 people a week, but says it is not the city, but contractors who cut grass around burrows on public property.
Private companies, I would say to them that if they don't know what to do and how to do it properly, don't do it at all.
For now, these neighbors are doing their part.
Oh, it's an animal that can't speak for itself, and we need to defend those, whether they're children or whether they're animals, that can't defend themselves.
And if you want to live in Cape Coral, it kind of comes with the territory. So if you don't like it, maybe you're living in the wrong city.
Morgan Reiner, Wink News Now.
And if you see something concerning near an owl's nest, Cape Coral Friends of Wildlife urges you to take action by putting it on camera. Then you can report it to the Florida Fish and Wildlife or to the city of Cape Coral. Wink News is the weather authority. We did see some rain today, but tomorrow maybe again?
Yes, more storms expected for your Monday. I'll get to that in a second, but check out the view that was earlier tonight. That waning crescent moon as well as Venus visible in that night.
Now, from Southwest Florida's news leader, this is Wink News at 11.
And new tonight, an elaborate plan to fool everyone over a man's death falls apart. Police say a 72-year-old man took his own life earlier this year, but he tried to make it seem like he was murdered. The Nightbeat's Paul Mueller explains how his plan fell apart.
I'll be honest, it's just a bizarre situation. I mean, the word that comes to mind is bizarre.
Psychologist Dr. Rafi Wald calls it bizarre how Alan Abrahamson, investigators believe, went through so much trouble to take his own life.
I can honestly say that in my practice, I've never had anyone fake a homicide and commit suicide.
Abrahamson found dead with a bullet to the chest in this field close to his house in Ballin Isles back in January. Police originally thought it was murder, but they couldn't find a weapon or shell casings. But then they went through his computer and phone, finding receipts and emails for weather balloons, helium tanks, string, and rubber bands. The same string and rubber bands that investigators found in the field. And on the phone, searches dating back to 2009, including suicide, ways to commit suicide, how to kill yourself. Then just last year, the question, can life insurance companies deny payment for suicide? Investigators believe that Abrahamson had no financial problems, though they say he depleted his retirement account and made large payments into his life insurance account. Still, friends say no one knew anything was wrong, and it was perhaps Abrahamson's way of ensuring his family stayed financially sound.
But clearly this wasn't something that he did on a whim. If they're experiencing severe emotional pain and they're serious about hurting themselves, they want to take action fairly quickly.
The police report says the weather balloon could have carried that gun 105,000 feet in the air and somewhere into the Atlantic Ocean. The family did not respond for comment. A new video on the Nightbeat. For the first time, we're seeing the man accused of trying to burn his condo building in Miami Beach. A judge denied Walter Stoppler bond at his first court appearance Saturday. The 72-year-old remains in jail tonight. Police say that Stoppler was upset that his Jewish neighbors were trying to evict him. And new details now released in the Parkland school shooting investigation. The state commission is composed of 15 people, including some of the victims' parents, law enforcement, and school officials. Some of what we know so far: confessed shooter Nicholas Cruz met with counselors at least 140 times over the years. Cruz purchased his firearms legally in February 2017. Under current law, he would now be too young. The Promise program that Cruz was referred to played no role in the shooting. It's a program meant for students who commit petty crimes. The commission did say the program was flawed and that needed to be addressed. Now it points out the flaws in the Broward County Sheriff's Office aging emergency radio system. They say it made communication more difficult during the shooting. And there's a lot more details to this story. To read them all, head over to the Wink News app. We posted it there. And trust Wink News to bring you the latest developments in this Parkland school shooting investigation as they happen. And firefighters put out an intense boat explosion. The St. Lucie Fire District posted these pictures to Twitter. They arrived to find a small fishing boat engulfed in flames. You can see the huge billows of smoke flowing into the air. Luckily, no one got hurt. A deputy opens fire on a man who carried an unwanted party favor. This happened at a house party in Houston Saturday. Deputies say the man brought an AK-47 to confront a woman at that party. A disturbance call brought the deputies to the house. The man attempted to shoot the deputies, and then they shot back. The suspect is expected to survive. Partygoers were allowed to go back in after the shootout. A deadly crash involving 38 people kills 3 and hurts 22 more. Check it out. You can see the wreckage left behind right here. It stretched here the length of a football field. The initial crash included this semi and a truck and a car, plus 3 other vehicles. Officials are still investigating what exactly happened. And after a typical joyride, a couple in California hijacked a fire truck and took off. They blew out the tires and drove into a ditch. Fire crews were responding to a brush fire when one of them noticed a strange man behind the wheel. The man took off and picked up a woman down the road, and that's when the chase with law enforcement began. The man behind the wheel says they were desperate, while the woman claims it wasn't her choice.
Because we were trying to get some help. Get us to a hospital, get us to a psych ward, get us some shoes.
He kidnapped me. He forcefully made me get in the truck with him, and he said he needed mental health help or he was going to kill me.
Law enforcement says that is not true, that the woman willfully climbed into the truck and even drove a little. Police say they're just glad no one got hurt. And new details from the Tennessee Waffle House shooting earlier this year. One of the survivors, Trey Sneed, is now describing the intense moments as he hid with a friend in a dishwasher.
She was on the ground screaming and rolling around, and I was like, be quiet, we got a good hide spot, you're gonna give us up. The next bullet or two was so close, I seen concrete chunks of the wall hopping off the wall behind my head. I thought I was hit then, it was like pop, pop.
4 people died in that shooting. Sneed says it's an experience that stayed with him since April.
I'm home by myself and I'm washing dishes. Sometimes I keep thinking bullets are gonna fly through the window.
Sneed says he's grateful to the man who tackled the gunman, James Shaw Jr., but he also is thankful for God for keeping him safe. And new this hour, thieves target a teen and send him to the hospital. Take a look at the 19-year-old's injuries. Police say the crooks took his car, his phone, and his wallet and beat him badly. Now police are combing Indianapolis looking for his attackers. The Nightbeat's Kelly Rinke has a story.
Pulling up to Hendricks Park, it was the last thing Brandon McCowan expected.
It seemed like they had an objective, and their objective was to beat me up and take what I had.
This is what he looked like after he says he met up with a girl here. They met at a social event about a week ago, and he tells me she reached out to him Thursday night saying she needed help. So he says he came by to see what he could do.
Within 10 minutes of talking to her, I got jumped by 2 men I've never seen or met before in my entire life. And they started beating me up. They stole my phone, my wallet, my car.
He's doing much better a day later, considering he's recovering from a broken nose, a concussion, and severe swelling.
I had to essentially fake being dead. I held my breath in for about 2 minutes until they finally walked away. It was horrible.
Look for help.
reach for help. This isn't a way to live.
His mom, Jessica, was shocked to see her son like this, upset to see people taking advantage of his desire to help others. Brandon is studying for the ministry, and he says faith is getting him through this.
Just want you guys to know that you didn't stop me, and you haven't stopped me from the tracks and the path that I'm on.
Police are looking for 3 suspects, and the family hopes they find the people responsible soon.
You guys may have thought you caused something to completely stop where I was going, but I'm staying strong.
And on the other side of the world, France is celebrating its World Cup win. Thousands of people gathered in front of the Arc de Triomphe tonight. It's the country's 2nd World Cup title. The national soccer team defeated Croatia earlier today, 4-2. The match saw one brief interruption. Protesters ran into the field in the second half in Moscow. A Russian group claimed credit for it. They say they are protesting the Russian president's authoritarian rule. One woman reaches out in a desperate plea for help.
She probably said, "Please help me," 4 times.
The whole incident is caught on camera. In just minutes, Wink News explains how a gas station clerk's quick thinking saved her from kidnappers.
And one lone storm still with us for tonight. What's in store for your Monday? Your forecast is next.
And check this out. A gas station clerk saves the day. This woman entering the gas station was saved because of her. The California woman told the clerk a group of men kidnapped her, so that clerk hid her in the back of the store until help arrived. The Nightbeat Steve Large shows us the surveillance and speaks to the hero of this story.
Oh, it was crazy.
She is a hero gas station clerk.
A hero? No.
Who answered a call for help. Surveillance video shows Savannah Pritchett at work at the Waterford Triple R Gas and Mart when this woman, with a purse over her shoulder, got out of a car, calmly walked inside, and delivered a terrifying message.
She came in and she was super calm, and she grabbed me, and when she grabbed me, she was very, very shaky, and I kind of, she was like, "Please, please help me." I saw in her eyes and how bad she was shaking that, oh no, she was scared.
The woman told Pritchett she had been kidnapped at gunpoint in Fresno, sexually assaulted, and her captors were planning on taking her to San Francisco.
We're very powerful, and just where I've been kidnapped, they have 2 guns, please help me. Yes, oh yeah, she probably said, "Please help me," 4 times. So I just thought, the bathroom, I can stick her in there, and it's not by up here, it's far enough back where you're safe.
When the suspects came inside looking for the woman, Pritchett felt she had to give them an explanation. She said the woman was in the bathroom tending to her menstrual cycle.
Because she did tell me that she was sexually assaulted from the guy, so I kind of thought, well, hey, I can put sexually assaulted and bleeding together, and I bet they probably wouldn't get that, so that would just fly over their head.
Video then shows Pritchett announcing she was leaving the store when cops arrived outside. Within seconds, Stanislaus County Sheriff's deputies were inside with guns drawn. The kidnappers were cuffed, the victim safe, thanks to this Good Samaritan store clerk.
That was a very, that was intense.
And thanks to the clerk's help, that woman is okay. The 4 suspects are in custody, and they're facing a long list of charges. A driver crashes into a pole and takes down power for a whole neighborhood. More than 500 people remain in the dark in Charlotte, North Carolina. The man behind the wheel did a lot of damage, as you can see right there from the car. At one point, first responders couldn't even get him out because of active power lines. Luckily, he is safe now, and crews are working to restore the power there. And a hospital is dealing with some major serious questions from a group of moms. The Texas facility is trying to figure out how the breast milk meant for one baby ended up going to another. The mom who produced that breast milk says she's shocked that this could happen. She says the process of monitoring the milk is meant to be thorough because what's okay for one baby might not be good for another.
High caffeine, the pain medication, because when your child's in the NICU, it's very delicate. I'm just so astonished that they could keep it for 3 months after my son was even discharged. That's what boggles my mind the most.
A spokesperson for the hospital said in a statement that they regret what happened and they will conduct a full review. Big news is the Weather Authority, and we are looking towards the work week.
Yes.
Look at
we actually have a few showers back in store tomorrow morning. I'll map out all of your headlines here to come, but look at this lovely sky cam image of downtown Fort Myers.
All right, thank you, Zach. All new tonight, a relaxing vacation turns into a rescue. A group of vacationers from England jumped in to save drowning children in Seattle. The Nightbeat's Joe Morello tells us why they jumped into action.
arrived in Seattle 2 hours ago, went for a burger, came to the beach.
Hamish Ray and his friends had just flown in from London when they spotted a huge group of kids swimming off the lighthouse at Discovery Park.
That's because none of the adults were going in. We thought they were fine.
But the more he looked, the worse it seemed.
Well, once we spoke to the kids, then it was really clear that we had to help them because one of them was face down in the water.
There were approximately 116 children in the water at one time, and this is part of a day camp that was going on.
A passing boater pulled out 2 of the kids while Ray and his friends swam out to save the others.
2 of them weren't breathing, and one of them wasn't breathing for like 4 minutes straight. A girl I was bringing in was just completely terrified, and she was kind of throwing up as well. I don't think she could think straight.
4 boys and a girl had to be saved, ranging in age from 10 to 11 years old.
I was still kind of in shock, I think.
Officials say one of the children headed to the hospital in critical condition. The other 4 range from serious to stable. We're out here counting down to the end of Sunday, the beginning of the work week, unfortunately for a lot of people out there.
Fortunately, and for us, it's the beginning of the weekend.
Yes, it is.
So quite nice for your Monday morning. A few showers along the coast, and then more showers and storms back for your afternoon. I think I put up that wrong forecast there for a second. Let's put this one. That was that nice. I was getting ready for my work week, which begins on Wednesday, and showed you the morning forecast. We have all these different forecasts here. Hold on one second. We got a few seconds. Oh, we got 30 seconds left in the show. We're okay. Here we go. Here's the real forecast, and I'll show you the 10-day once it pops up. If it pops up, there you go. Scattered showers in the morning, scattered showers in the afternoon. Looks pretty much the same, though, with temperatures back in the lower 90s each and every afternoon.
All right.
Have a great week.
Have a great week. Week News continues at 4:30 tomorrow morning, so make sure you tune back in.
And you'll see that 7-day forecast, the AM style.
Have a good night.